Hi, everyone. It's Paul at the Garland County Library, and I'm here once again, as many times before and many times to come, our special guest, Mary Zunick, who tonight is in the role of the Sister City Program Director. But this program is here by popular demand. The last one in this series of the Sister City program series that we've done had well over 300 views. And if you don't know, the Sister City relationship between Hot Springs and Hanamaki, Japan has been going on since 1993. And their goal is to bring greater understanding, friendship, and a mutual respect between the two cities. So again, this program is going to feature Jesse Gutman, who is the Hanamaki Office of International Relations Coordinator, and he's going to continue a photo showcase from the last episode from a few months ago. So Mary's going to introduce him, and welcome once again, as always.
Thank you so much, Paul. And thank you to the Garland County Library and to Paul for all of the community programming that you make possible. The Sister City program, as Paul indicated, we have been sister cities with Hanamaki, Japan since 1993. And a sister city is basically a city in another part of the world. The whole goal of a sister city is to learn about another culture, one person, one community at a time. Sister cities began back in 1955 in the midst of the Cold War. President Eisenhower introduced the People to People program. Again, the concept was world peace, one community at a time. And so through our Sister City program here in Hot Springs, we take part in annual exchanges up until 2020 when everything stopped. So we typically have students come to visit Hanamaki. They stay with host families. They attend school at area schools. And basically those students, the whole goal for student exchange is to find out about education, but more importantly, to find out what life is like as an American teenager. The reverse happens when we send student delegations to Japan. Delegations last, or exchanges last about a week. We do have a number of sister schools that take part in student exchanges. Adults travel back and forth from Hanamaki to Japan. And every 5 years or more often, in many cases, we have delegations from Japan come to visit Hot Springs. So over the past 30 years, literally thousands of people have taken part in exchange, whether as a host family, a host student at a school, and of course, those who are fortunate enough to be able to travel back and forth between our countries and be delegates or be representatives of our respective communities. So tonight, as we've done, Paul mentioned a few previous programs with the Garland County Library, which can be found on the Garland County Library Facebook page or YouTube page. We've gone through some photos of previous exchanges. And Jesse Gutman from the city of Hanamaki has been kind enough to compile these photos to share with us here this evening. And so he helps host delegations that come, whether students or adults or all of the travelers that visit Hanamaki. The international exchange offices and the city international division make all of the plans and host families, make arrangements for host families to make sure that visitors to Japan have incredible experiences and are able to learn about the culture, the history, and basically what life is like in our sister city. Jesse is from the United States, but he's been living in Hanamaki for over 10 years. And so he has a very unique perspective, able to share what Japanese culture is like, having lived there so long, but also has, with having grown up here in the United States, he's a wonderful host to help make sure that we have an incredible Hanamaki experience. So please join me in welcoming Jesse.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey, Mary. Thanks for the nice introduction.
I'm afraid I always get carried away on those, but anyway, I want everybody
to know I love it.
About the history. So, and thank you so much for all of the hard work, because we had some major computer difficulties, and you put a lot of work into this. So we are so grateful.
Yeah, sorry about that from last time. Computer had major issues literally the night before the presentation was supposed to go on, and I had no warning about this. The computer's working fine, so that has been fixed now. I did move all the data that I had, so we're good to continue right on where we left off last time with the photos. So.
Well, excellent. I sent a e-blast out promoting the program last night. And even if we have some people who don't catch it tonight, I know they'll tune in later. But I also sent some messages out to those who traveled in 2018, 2019. 2018 was our 25th anniversary, so I'm excited to see those photos too. Those are great memories.
Yep. That's actually what we're going to start off with today, I believe, the 25th anniversary.
Excellent. Excellent.
All right.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, sure. Let me switch over to the presentation here. I will go full screen. We good?
Looks great to me.
Okay. Yeah, so 2018 was, as you just said, the 25th anniversary. So we're going to start off with the citizens delegation today, and that's actually the welcome party. We usually have these like big welcome parties whenever our delegations come here, especially for like big anniversary citizens delegations like this. So this is a ton of people that we gather together and usually have, like entertainment there, traditional dancing and music and lots of food and lots of chatting with all sorts of people like host families, past exchange members, and of course, right in the front row there, down towards the bottom, present and past mayors from both cities. So this is
one nice thing. I just wanted to mention one nice thing about welcome parties is the delegates are kind of there's 2 or 3 sitting at each table with an interpreter and with citizens from the city. So we have an opportunity to really sit and share a meal and visit with normal citizens or with peers in our sister city.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we actually beforehand, obviously, we take a look at the seating arrangement. Everybody gets assigned seats, but that's on purpose, like you said, for interpreters. And we make sure that everybody's sitting near somebody who can help them talk if they need it. And usually if we know that somebody has hosted somebody in the past, we'll also put them together too. So yes, exactly. I'm sure some people who are watching, if they look at this photo for a couple minutes, they'll almost certainly find somebody they know.
I see lots of familiar faces.
Yeah. And this is probably the next day, just out and about with the citizens delegates here, out having lunch. I believe we were towards the coast that day. So not in Hanamaki, we actually took them a bit out towards the eastern coast of Japan. This is actually, I don't know why this photo is here. It's completely out of order, but there you go. This is back at the welcome party. So like I was saying before, they have entertainment and stuff, but they also have students from looks like a local high school here that come by and sing. So this is probably the chorus group, if I remember right.
Yes.
And actually the 25th anniversary, we had the artist exchange delegation. So Aaron Holiday from Hot Springs came over to Hanamaki and did a bunch of artwork here and stayed here for quite a while. I believe it was about a month or so. And she helped me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this artwork here is actually from Mr. Onozaki. He is a local artist here in Hanamaki who was sent to Hot Springs, and he made this piece for the 25th anniversary. And so there's them unveiling it at the welcome party. And there's the man himself. And Mr. Kashiwaba Kohei is there to the left. If you remember him from a couple episodes ago, he was actually here live with us.
Yes, he is always so kind, and our interpreter here and in the United States, Kohei there. Yes, and Takuya, the artist, he spent a month here and then came back again when the artwork was presented.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so him and Aaron Holiday were our, official artist exchange representatives. I believe that was the first artist exchange we've done, was it not?
I believe so. Yes, an official representative. We've had many students or many artists who traveled back and forth, but yes,
Yeah.
that's the first official.
Hopefully we get to do that again someday.
Oh yes, I hope so.
And here is any kind of welcome party. They'll also exchange gifts and stuff. Typically for the citizens delegations from Hot Springs, we provide them with custom-made hanten, which is like it's a light jacket, a traditional light jacket. And the ones that we custom make for them have their names on it and the name of the city, obviously Hot Springs and Hanamaki on there as well. And there's actually on the left there is Miss Betty Brown, the ASMSA Japanese language instructor, and she's been here many times and helps us out with exchange between Kita High School and ASMSA, the sister schools. And there's a bunch of delegates here. Oh, go on, Mary.
Yes, Betty teaches at ASMSA, and they have both Japanese 1, Japanese 2, and I believe even Japanese 3 offered at Arkansas School for Math, Science, and the Arts this year.
Yes, and they're actually, as far as our sister cities go, very, very ahead of the pack, proactive in teaching language and stuff. And that's important to me as the coordinator over here too, because I'm trying my best to make sure it's an exchange and not always just everything in English. We want people to speak Japanese as well. And I think Hot Springs and especially ASMSA has definitely been pushing that envelope very far recently, and especially with the help of Betty Brown, of course. Delegates here, Sonia there in the middle. Everybody's receiving their jackets and trying them on now. And if you can read Japanese, you can see their names are printed on the left of the inner part of the jacket, and on the right it says Hot Springs Hanamaki. And Hot Springs Mayor McCabe given a few words. And then we had how would you call this? Awards? I guess awards from Hot Springs to people who are important to the exchange from the Hanamaki side, right? So in this shot, we have Mr. Corey Alderdice, the director of ASMSA, presenting an award to Mr. Shimomachi, who was the, what's the word? I'm struggling this morning. The principal, yeah. I can think of it in Japanese. I'm like struggling to think of the English words now. It's actually kind of scary. He was the principal of Hanamaki Kita High School. They have a new principal now, but he's still very active in the exchange. And so it was kind of fitting to have Mr. Alderdice give him the award there, so the two sister school representatives.
Yes, each 5-year anniversary, individuals who have been integral in the exchange program and the relationship between the sister cities are recognized. And so that's what, those awards were being presented in Hanamaki. And then when the delegation from Hanamaki comes to visit Hot Springs, they present the awards to the citizens here in Hot Springs.
Right. And you had a very nice, like engraved metal plate on wood, I believe it was, in the shape of the state there, which was very nice. And in this shot, we have Mr. Hatakeyama. He was the director of the Hanamaki International Exchange Association for a very long time, almost as long as I've been here. I believe he started maybe a year or two after I did, but he has been integral in the process as well. He's always taken lots of photos and been very welcoming to guests. And so he got an award there too.
And it was presented that evening by Karen Dodd. She's in the center of the screen there. She is actually the chair of the Hot Springs Sister City Foundation. The foundation is the nonprofit portion of our Sister City program that helps assist with hospitality, facilitate exchange, as well as raise money to assist with student and cultural exchanges. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And there's you. And Mrs. Kimura, longtime host, her and her family, of course. And Mary, you probably could say a word or two about her, since you have probably the longest running relationship, I think.
Oh, yes. The Kimura family, they have hosted, I probably not dozens, but many, many students and teachers. They have 3 children, and I think all 3 children have stayed with me, some of them more than once when they have visited Hot Springs. But they've just hosted so many students and other delegates that have visited Hanamaki with such incredible hospitality and warmth. They are just an exceptional family, all 5 of them.
Well-deserved award there.
Absolutely. Oh.
This is Kohei's father. Remember Kohei from a few episodes ago. And Mr. Kashiwaba, of course, is his name, but he is the, I forget what his actual title is at the Homestay Association. I believe he's like auditor or something. I'm sorry to him if he's watching, but I'm sure he's laughing about it. He's a very nice guy. And he was presented an award as well. And he's been, along with Kohei, Kohei is, of course, integral to the exchange as well as an interpreter and just, an all-around friend to those from Hot Springs. But maybe not as well known is his father is also, through the Homestay Association, one of the most important figures here in welcoming guests from all of our sister cities, really, but especially Hot Springs. And you could tell, hopefully, if you look at his face, if you know the guy, he always has a smile. He's always laughing about something, and just an all-around great guy. And this is Mrs. Umura Tetsuko Umura. She is actually a radio personality here on Hanamaki FM1, and she has hosted many times. Well, I don't know how many times, but she's certainly hosted at least a few that I know. And she, through the radio, also does certain PR for us, and is just an all-around great person as well. Well-deserved award there. And here is Sonia and busting a move there.
She'll be so thrilled with that one. Because we always dance, yeah.
Yes, yeah. This is during the dance. There's Mr. Stan Miller there giving the thumbs up. And this is former Mayor Barron with President of the Hanamaki International Exchange Association, Mr. Fumiaki Sasaki. And she's presenting a gift there. I don't remember off the top of my head. Do you remember the history behind that painting there, Mary?
Well, that painting is of downtown Hot Springs, the Arlington Hotel in the background. Former Mayor Barron lives in North Carolina now, so
right, yeah,
brought that to present.
Gotcha, yeah.
That was a personal gift from her, I believe.
Yes. Here we are. We brought the delegates out to Lake Tase, getting a boat ride there. This is not something we do for all the delegates. I think once in a while, if we can fit it in the schedule, we'll bring them out on the lake.
It was interesting. On that lake is where the Olympic row team practiced, wasn't it? The rowing team?
Yes. Actually, I don't know. It got so hazy during the beginning of the pandemic as to whether things actually happened or not. So I didn't go there in person, so I'm not actually sure if they were able to go or not. It was towards that time, when the pandemic was breaking out. So, but yes, they certainly were slated to. There's like a boathouse and stuff here, and they were slated to be the training grounds for, I believe, the Belgian rowing team was supposed to come and practice there. But of course, you all know what happened in the beginning of 2020.
And those of us here in Hot Springs, you can certainly see that, like Hot Springs, Hanamaki is located in a rest area. Their mountain is a little bit bigger here in Hot Springs, though, and that beautiful lake kind of looks like some areas of Lake Washita here in Hot Springs. Yeah,
this is certainly one of the more scenic on the water spots that we have out here. As far as I could definitely see the resemblance to Hot Springs coming out here. We then went to a local farm to make our own pizza. Kind of a little brick pizza house that they handmade over here at the farm.
And it was it ecotourism is something that, that's a word that we hear a lot here in the United States, or a phrase we hear. And so this is the farmers, it's all locally grown produce, and use that to make our pizza.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, all local source stuff there. and they are really welcoming. We've brought a few groups there, and every time they have all their staff there to help us, and they set everything up. They take care of all the before and after and the cleanup and everything, and just basically give our guests a really good time. There's some finished products there. This is at the Otamura no Ie. So this is the it's like a community center. And this at the community center, locals come over and basically they can just hang out if they want, but a lot of the time they do certain crafts or hold like a tea ceremony or something like that. So we like to bring guests there. And whenever we do bring delegates there, all the locals that are in the area come over and hang out with us and, share food and have a good time. And here actually is some of the delegates practicing sakiori, which I believe we talked about a little bit last time, if anybody's watching again from then. But sakiori literally means to rip and weave. And it basically makes use of old cloth. And so for example, you would tear strips of old kimono or just any kind of old fabric. And then you can see she's holding the strips there and weaving them into something new. In this case, I think it was just a coaster. That's one of the easiest things that we usually have any of our delegates do when they come over. And then once you make it, they let you keep it. So it's a nice little souvenir, I guess you could say, that you made by hand.
But there are some beautiful items there in some of the shops that are made using that weaving method that are jackets and purses and bags that are just beautiful.
Yeah, the craftspeople that actually help us out with doing that, some of them are, retired, and that's what they do all day. They make all sorts of awesome crafts, and they actually make some money selling them. And not just like coasters and stuff. Of course, like you just said, handbags, all sorts of apparel and other neat stuff. And this is a shot here. You can see a bunch of kids as well with their delegates. There's actually a school, I believe it's an elementary school, very close to the community center. So usually when we bring delegates, word spreads to the elementary school, and some of the teachers are nice enough to bring over their class to hang out as well.
And the nice thing about this, we call the people who travel delegates, or I always tell them that they're more like ambassadors, because not all of those children will ever be able to travel to the United States. But by sitting down and eating some edamame together, or the other cultural experiences that we have there with the children and with the adults, that might be one of the few opportunities that individual will have to sit and get to know someone from Hot Springs or from the United States even. So it really is a special opportunity to be able to sit and visit for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see in the next shot, moving on here, it started raining outside while they were dancing, and nobody ran inside. Everybody just kind of took it as this spur moment thing, just dancing in the rain. It's very I think this is like the only time I've seen this happen. It was very like movie like, if you know what I mean. It almost felt scripted, but it was just completely spur of the moment there. Everybody outside forming circles in the rain. So they had a great time. I'm sure that's a great memory for the kids as well. And of course, as we left, so that's probably out of the window of the bus there, everybody saying their goodbyes. And this is at it's a small museum that Mr. Shimomachi, the former principal of Hanamaki Kita, who was presented an award several photos back, he set up this like tiny Hot Springs Hanamaki Sister City Museum. And so we brought the delegates there, and he was there to meet us and show us around. And he set this all up by himself, as far as I know. Lots of, memorabilia from Hot Springs, but also like some historical documents and like newspapers and like old news from TV that he had on a screen there as well. And
you can see there in that previous picture, Ichiro Fudai has been to Hot Springs many times. I think he may have helped with their.
Oh yeah, on the left. Yeah, there he is.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually didn't even realize. Yeah. And Robert's there on the guitar, as well as Mr. Shimomachi on the piano. They did a little duet there. another spur of the moment thing, but they got the instruments there at the museum, so why not? We have 2 musicians, and they made some nice music while we were there hanging out. And then we went to, this is either lunch or dinner, I'm not even sure, but lots of
lunch. I remember it. It was lunch.
Yeah, okay. And
delicious food. Everybody thinks when you go to Japan, you only eat sushi.
If people really think that, they need to stop, knock it off. Yeah, of course, there's plenty of food here. But this is also washoku. This is like, traditional Japanese cuisine as well.
And it's so good.
Yeah. And you guys, Mary and Robert, hanging out with the Kimura family?
Yes. Yuri and Mio and Mrs. Kimura.
Yep. And Yoshie on there. She popped in earlier before we went live, but she is our assistant manager here at the office. But also even before then, she was, host, and she's hosted a bunch of times and has lots of friends and connections to Hot Springs as well. And on the left there is Betty in the middle, and to the left of her is Yuki, who worked for the International Exchange Association for quite a while, 4 or 5 years maybe. I'm not sure exactly, but she recently moved on, but she was also pretty integral in the exchange, as well as Mr. Hatakeyama again, there on the right, who was the former director. Of course, Mayor Ueda was, I believe he came to see us off, see the group off as they left back for Hot Springs, or I should say Tokyo. And next, we've got another different set here. So this was 2018 Hanamaki Matsuri, the Hanamaki Festival. And if my computer would have cooperated, we would have seen this in September, which is actually when the festival takes place. So I'm sorry about that, but better late than never, I guess. During the festival, we've got tons of floats, dancing, traditional music, parades, and basically all throughout downtown and central Hanamaki is lit up well into the night with tons of people. Obviously, in COVID times, that's not the case. But other than that, it's usually this kind of scenery.
And that's the reason we actually travel to Hanamaki in September. We're always there the second week when the adult delegation goes, the second weekend of September, so we can be there for the Matsuri Festival, which dates back over 400 years.
Yeah, exactly. And so since you guys are here, we definitely take the delegates out, and even the people from Hot Springs, they'll some of them disperse into the crowd and have festival food and hang out, make new friends, and they'll stay there into the night as well. So definitely a great experience for visitors from Hot Springs. Some more floats here on the left. There's some poetry from Kenji.
Do you have any video of the festival? Because the music is piped down the street, and so the drum beats carry on all the way. It's the same beat for all of the floats. In the United States, it's not like that so much, but in Hanamaki, it's just a continuous.
I'm not sure if I had. I know I sent you a video a while ago.
Well,
right? I might have it. I'm just going to take a couple seconds here. I don't want to hold up the show, but I can find it.
And the people and I'll just keep talking while you're looking.
Sure. Yeah.
In Hanamaki, the delegates that go are actually invited to come and take part in the parade. So of course we stand on the side of the street, just like you do at a parade here in the United States, and watch the parade go by. But in Hanamaki, we're actually asked to go into the parade. I'm sure we'll see some of the photos of that. But all of these floats are constructed each year by neighborhoods or different groups of people who get together to construct the photos. And they depict historic stories. Actually, there have been times when I was there where one was even dedicated to Hot Springs. And the national had basically a depiction of the national park on a float. And they're just stunning, brightly lit. They're lit by little gas lanterns all over them. And the figures and the flowers are even kind of waxed flowers. So even if it rains, they put a little tarp over it, but they will stand up to a little bit of rain. It's not just tissue paper flowers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm almost certain as soon as we finish the show here, I will just like appear on my desktop or something, but I can't find it right now. So I don't want to hold up much, but I do have a video of Shishi Odori, which we're actually about to see. Let me go back to my full screen here.
I will share some video on Facebook later. So if you want to check out the Facebook page, you can actually see what a Matsuri festival is like.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be perfect. This is during the festival, actually. The Shishi Odori dancers, deer dancers, would be Shishi Odori. And they don't only play during the festival. It's kind of traditional dance out here in Hanamaki, and especially out in Iwate, which is the prefecture. And for those who don't know, prefecture is pretty much equivalent to a state in the United States. So Hanamaki is the city, and Iwate is our prefecture. But the Shishi Odori dancers, especially during the festival, will also come out and parade down the streets. And I do have a video here that I took recently. It wasn't during the festival. It was during a different festival called Rei Taisai that was this year, a couple months ago. And let me make sure you can all see this. I probably have to switch my screen. I'm going to switch here real quick. We've come back to me and you, Mary. Okay. You should be able to see this, right? If we switch back to full or
yes, there we are.
Sorry for my desktop mess here, but this is the best way to do it. So this, I took this a couple months ago at a shrine here, Hanamaki Shrine, actually, to be exact. And I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit so you guys can hear it. So this actually goes on for 20 minutes. I'm just going to skip a little bit here so we can see, just get kind of just to give you guys kind of an overall sense of it, because it is very long, and I'd love to show you all of it, but we do have lots of other stuff. But here we go. All right, so there's, obviously it's not all the same. I don't want to say, so that's basically it. It's, they do a bunch of stuff here, but the overall rhythm is like that. The movements are like that. It's an awesome dance. And there's several different schools of Shishiodori. And this is the Kasuga Ryu variation of it. So there's a bunch of different groups that will practice and master just that specific type of dance as well. And during the festival, they'll also, like I said, parade down the streets. This shrine here that we're looking at, actually, if we faced the opposite direction, the direction that they're facing towards me as the camera, you'd see the shrine itself. So they perform facing the shrine basically during Beitaisai. It's kind of, it's during this festival, it's not for the viewer. So you can see there towards the right, and there's tons of people in the audience off to the right that you can't see on camera, but they do it specifically for the shrine. So even if nobody came to watch them, which, during COVID, I guess is possible, they would still put this show on because it's more than a show, it's more of a tradition. So that's what was going on here at the shrine. But like I said, it's also a very important part of the festival itself. So let me switch back here to the photos.
People in Hot Springs may think that looks familiar. That's because in the convention center, we actually have a Shishiodori costume on a figure. And if you want to see get a little bit closer look, you can certainly visit the Hot Springs Convention Center.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And I don't know when the last time we sent someone out to look at that. Sometimes Hanamaki sends professionals out to kind of take care of the
5th anniversaries is when we open the case up and have everything inside cleaned. Gotcha. And make any modifications to because it fades over time.
Right.
Sunlight.
Yeah, so the figure there that you're looking at in the photo, you can actually go see that at the convention center, like Mary said. So yeah. I would definitely recommend that. It's very big. Obviously, it can be hard to imagine if you haven't seen it in person, but the deer head there is actually well above the person inside of its head. It's a rather huge costume, and it's very heavy. So it's amazing that they can carry all of that, and as well as a very heavy drum, and also do such fluid movements while they're doing the performance. It's very awesome.
I was told one time they're 12 feet tall and they weigh 40 pounds.
Well, I didn't know that. Yeah, I totally believe it.
The costume itself weighs 40 pounds, and from floor to the top of the white thing, it's 12 feet.
Gotcha. These guys are carrying a mikoshi, which is a portable shrine. So usually a mikoshi has some kind of relic from a shrine. And during non-festival times, the mikoshi is itself just held inside the shrine. But during festivals, they'll take it out and they will carry it on their backs. And it is very heavy. And some of them are even larger than this one. And people who do this at the festival, some of them, especially people who are taller than those around them, at the end of the day have a huge welt on their shoulder. But it's a tradition and they do it every year, and they love it. So even the kids get in on it, slightly smaller one there. And the two mayors from both cities, as well as delegates from Hot Springs during the 25th anniversary there. During Hanamaki Festival, they got their own banner for the 25th anniversary and were able to lead part of the parade.
That's Joe and Cheryl Howe there. They were members of the 25th anniversary delegation.
Yep. Here are more shots of mikoshi. You can see the weather does not matter. They will do it no matter what. For me, I play shamisen, which is a lute, a traditional lute. And if it starts raining, the shamisen will be destroyed. So we actually put them in bags. But other than that, almost everybody else in the parade just carries on like normal. You can see these guys here. This is probably a slightly older one, and to protect it from the rain, they've just added a little bit of a sheet, but they're still going at it. And we got some of our delegates getting in there, Stan Miller and Mayor McCabe there.
And they're tall.
Yep, yeah, definitely. They definitely, if they did that all night, their shoulder would have bared the mark. Some of the kids, usually elementary school girls, will be part of the parade as well. They'll play small taiko drums. You can't really see it. You can see it a little bit towards the bottom of the shot there, covered in plastic because of the rain. But it's basically a bunch of drums, small taiko drums that are tied up to long poles. And you can see towards the right-hand side, some of the adults there are carrying this whole contraption, and they're moving it forward on wheels while the girls stand in lines playing the drums. It's another shot of just what downtown looks like during the festival. Obviously, this is a street, so non-festival times, this would have cars and stuff, obviously, but during the festival, it is just completely filled with people. Tons of different types of mikoshi, and you can see people are all wearing different hanten, different jackets. They're all parts of different groups. Some groups are representing a company. Some groups are representing, for example, City Hall, which would be the group that I would be part of because that's my workplace. But let's say I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be part of my neighborhood group where I live. I could join their group as well, and I'd have a completely different outfit and do different things. So the festival is a great way for community members to get involved with those around them, at least once a year. More shots of the girls. And some more floats. Each group makes their own float. Obviously, they don't ship it off to a company to do for them or anything. They all chip in with hard work, sometimes a month, 2 months beforehand. And they do things out of paper mache, all sorts of different crafts and paints. And it's a very big process, and everybody gets involved.
They are spectacular. I mean, the way they're lit, the pictures are stunning, but they don't even begin to do them justice.
You can see how big they are too, just using the people as reference. Some of them get so high that you can see the electric wire in the background there. There are people who have, as part of the float, the people carrying the float, they will carry a huge pole to move the electrical lines out of the way of the float when it's passing by. So some of them get really way up there. And this is 2018 students. So student delegation from Hot Springs. And they're giving self-introductions here in Japanese. 2018, I believe it was either 2017 or 2016 maybe that I started holding Japanese lessons with Hot Springs students who are slated to come to Hanamaki. And we go over learning how to introduce themselves, how to talk about their interests or their hobbies, or just whatever they want to talk about. And so they come over with at least some basic conversational skill. And those, of course, from the group that are taking Japanese language at ASMSA also have at least a beginner's level, sometimes even more than that. So they are showing off their skills here at a school. And at this school, they also wanted us to participate with them. So the first thing they did was show us this dance. This is a type of soran dance. And I believe after they showed us, they got us involved as well. So our students started putting on the outfits and learning the moves. And they had basically 5 to 10 minutes to learn the whole dance. So you could imagine that it didn't exactly go to plan, but they had a great time, I think. Starting to get the hang of it there. Mr. David Slaymaker from ASMSA at the time. So they get into it. We don't do this for all the student groups. It really depends on which school we end up at, because we take students to different schools every time. There are some schools that we always go to, like the sister schools, Kita High School, which would be sister schools with the ASMSA, and Hanamaki Higashi, which would be sister schools with Lakeside. But other than that, we like to sometimes switch up the schedules and take them different places so that every group can somewhat say that they had a unique experience while they were here. So these guys also got to practice koto, which is like a traditional harp. And I believe that was at Hanamaki Kita, or maybe, no, it was actually, it might have been in a middle school this time. Practicing some sports with the kids there in that shot. And then also we went to practice making etegami, which is like hand-painted postcards. And this is not at a school, it's at the Continuing Education Center we take the group to. And at the Continuing Education Center, you can kind of, it's open for citizens and just groups to come and freely use their rooms for certain activities. You know, they have like music rooms and just general multi-purpose rooms like this one. And so we went there with a group that specializes in making and teaching how to make hand-painted postcards. And you can see as part of the process there, you would choose an object that they brought. They provided all sorts of different objects. Some of them were flowers, some of them were little decorations like this one. And you could choose one that you like and then make a hand-painted postcard out of it. And this is another beautiful one here. I really like how this one came out.
And the nice part is this is such a unique experience because this is not something that you could take a tour or even a student tour to another country. This is truly a unique cultural experience where you get to visit the schools or get to know the people that teach these crafts. Yeah, it's really unique to the student delegation.
Yeah, and we have a wonderful teacher, Mrs. Terui, who does this every time. She gives her time and brings her group with her, and you can see them in the pink shirts there off to the sides. And they come and make sure that we know what's going on and how to hold the brush and the kind of feeling that they want you to put into your postcard. And you can see there on the board all the postcards that everybody ended up making. Came out great, and they get to send them off to their family members too. After they're done with this, we let them dry, and we have some of our staff come and collect them along with the addresses, and we send them off for them. And this is at the Marukan restaurant, and you can see Mrs. Dawn Shin there on the right, the chaperone, giving us a great reaction there. So basically the ice cream is, I think I explained this maybe 1 or 2 times ago. I don't even remember how tall it is. It's very tall. It's like 25 centimeters or something ridiculous like that. So basically anytime we bring student delegations here, you can see the smiling faces, especially there on the left. Everybody loves having the ice cream.
It's delicious.
Yeah. And this is at a welcome party for the student delegation. So that would be at the Hanamaki Exchange Center. That's the building that takes place in. And it used to actually be an airport. The current airport, Hanamaki actually in Iwate, as far as I know, is the only place with an airport for domestic flights. And they also have flights to, well, I don't know about recently because of COVID, but during normal times to Taiwan as well. So this is the welcome party for the student delegation. And you can even see in the background there in the green dress, that's Mrs. Umemura. And to the right is her daughter. She's one of the people that received an award a bunch of photo sets before, the radio personality. And she was there hosting, of course. And everybody gets to hang out and meet with their host families before they part ways and go into their separate houses. So it's kind of a nice time for the Hot Springs students to get acquainted with their host families before separating from the other delegates and us as the staff. So that it gives them a little bit of a transition to get used to who they're about to spend time with alone. So that's why we like to hold the welcome parties as soon as they get here before they go into their individual homes. But everybody quickly warms up to each other. They share food, and all the food there, by the way, is like potluck style. So the families cook, or they pick up food, and everybody brings it there for everybody else to enjoy as well. And so at the welcome party, they were also giving their self-introductions in Japanese. And this is probably the next day. We're visiting the school there. And this is, this school must be Hanamaki Higashi, because over there on the left is Debbie, one of the longstanding teachers there, who is originally from the UK, but She's been here in Hanamaki even longer than I have, probably far longer, actually. I'm not sure exactly how long, but she is a great tour guide when we're at Higashi. She works there and obviously speaks English, of course. And so when we go there, we just leave it to her. She shows us around and explains everything and does a great job. And actually, I believe Debbie's been to Hot Springs as well.
Yes, she's been to Hot Springs many times. She travels here when the Hanamaki Higashi student group comes.
Right.
And again, does the same here. She just does a great job interpreting and making sure that you have a good cultural experience, that which the first time or two she came was unique because she has, she's not from the US, she's from the UK. So right. She was, even though the language is the same, the culture is a bit different. So, but we love having Debbie come. In fact, usually the group from Hanamaki Higashi has arrived this week because they usually arrive the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. She's overall just a great asset to the whole program. This is at the Miyazawa Kenji Doamura, which is roughly translated Miyazawa Kenji Fairy Tale Village. And we take almost every, I want to say every student group to this kind of like fun house based on the fairy tales and poetry of famed author Miyazawa Kenji, who is one of, Hanamaki's great historical figures. And this is one of the main rooms that we always take a photo. As you can see, it's a great place to do so. So almost every group has their individual group's photo in this room. And there's kind of, there's like fun house style rooms as well. This one is when you take a photo and leave it on long exposure, it actually lights up like this with all sorts of colors and lights. But when you're actually in there, it's actually rather dark. Kind of like a Bug's Life style room. This is at, I believe, the Hanamaki Museum. You can see there on the right, it says like, let's listen to our ancestors. Or actually, yeah, it's written there in English as well. Yeah. So you can actually pick up that phone, for example, and listen to actual recordings that were taken, a very long time ago of people who are important to Hanamaki. We also brought them out to the coast. This should be at the city of Rikuzen Takata, which was, well, basically you're seeing the aftermath here of the 2011 Great East Japan earthquake. And we don't always get the opportunity to bring every group there, but when we can fit it into the schedule, we do like to bring especially the students out there to understand the gravity of the situation. A lot of people in the US, for example, who are my age, what am I, 32 now? I saw this on TV, actually right before I came to Japan. I was on the news and stuff, but as the years go by and we have students from the same grade coming here, eventually some of them are going to have been too young or have been born after this actually took place. So this is a really good experience for them to see the coast out there and see the kind of the devastation. But not only that, how far they've come towards recovery. You can see here on this building, way up there, the 14.5 meter mark is where the actual tsunami wave reached on this building. This building is huge. It's actually, just looking at this photo, you can't tell how high that is, but very high. And this was in 2018, so they were still very much recovering. They are still now, but they've come quite a long ways. I actually did a live stream from there this past year, I believe it was, but they've come a very long way. We usually hire guides out there as well who are locals to explain what it was like on the day of the tsunami and the earthquake and the disaster. She's explaining here the force of the waves. People think waves, if they've never seen tsunami waves before, might have a hard time imagining how destructive it can be. So this is, a giant steel pole here that was bent over like it was nothing. And you could see the students, will start to understand the gravity of what happened by actually being there. And they're looking at what the city looked like before on a photo as they look out into what it looks like now. Well, now it's in 2018. It's actually much improved since then, but. And this is seeing them off at the Hanamaki station. So that would be the Shinkansen station, the bullet train back to Tokyo. And all the host families gather there, and a lot of our staff members and other friends and family will come and see them off there, and usually take a photo right outside the station underneath the Miyazawa Kenji's sculpture here, I guess you could say. And as always, the tears, the hugs, the saying goodbye is difficult.
Yes. Many of these kids have hosted before. Georgia Gooch and Jonah Nestor, and many of the students who are part of this delegation have actually hosted students in their homes. And in many cases, when the students travel from Hot Springs, they stay with the family of the students that they hosted.
Right. Here they are saying goodbye as they get onto the train there. And then they're off. And we're probably coming up on time here in a moment. I think we can quickly run through this one. There's not that many photos in this, if that's cool with you guys.
Yes.
So just to wrap it up, 2018 Hinamatsuri is also known as Doll Festival. It's also sometimes translated as Girls Festival, but I don't think that's a good translation. It really is about dolls and stuff. And it's not just for girls either. There's a lot of, traditionally boy-oriented, samurai and lions fighting and stuff like that too. So I like to keep it away from that kind of translation and just leave it at Doll Festival. And here's one of them right away. And the dolls that are showcased in this set basically are dolls that people have had sometimes for 300, 500 years running through their family. And during the doll festival every year, Hinamatsuri, they will showcase their dolls. Some people will showcase them in their homes, and they'll open up their homes and let people come in and look. And some people who have shops will set up the dolls in the shop, and people who are coming into the store can take a look at them. And a lot of the time they'll be available to explain the history behind them and the style that they were made and all sorts of things. So it's a very unique festival with all sorts of different dolls from different generations, sometimes wildly different dolls.
And when is that? Is that in May?
That's in early spring, I believe. What is it? March, I believe. February or March, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yes, definitely early spring.
The fabrics are beautiful that they use.
Yeah, and this was probably Year of the Dog, the Chinese zodiac. A lot of times when you see these little animal fabric dolls, it's based on whatever animal it is for the current year. This one spooks me out, but beautiful nonetheless.
This kind of, yeah.
It's nice. This one offsets the scariness with some cuteness.
How sweet.
So this is probably, might have been part of Year of the Rat or something as well. I'm not sure. Little tops. These were unique. That's why I snapped a photo of them. You don't usually see these kinds of things out on display during Doll Festival time. There it is in action.
Like a dreidel.
Yeah, exactly. And there's all sorts of old traditional stuff that they'll put out on display. At Doll Festivals, it's mostly focused around the dolls, but some people who have been maintaining things in their family for a very long time, certain objects and stuff, will also use it as an opportunity to show those things off. And, obviously, if you wanted to look at this kind of thing or read this kind of thing and see it in person, you'd never know that the person down the street was holding it unless they told you somehow. So this is an opportunity for people to see all of the history that everybody's actually hanging on to and keeping very good care of once a year, kind of free open to everybody to look at. And this is like this is called tsurushibina, which literally means like hanging hina dolls. It's a type of setup for the dolls, and you can see here. This display is this one's a very unique display. If you come in here at this time into this room, they're just all over the place. And some of them are rather large too, like this set here, and they can get very expensive if you try to buy new ones as well. It's another little cute one here. Another little mouse. And that's that. It's been about an hour, so Paul, Mary, how would you like to proceed?
Are there as many photos of 2019 as there were from 2018?
Well, I can tell you right now, we are about to start on slide 717, and until the end of all the photos that I have is 888.
So yeah, we should probably wrap it up right here, although you can see who the members of the next delegation are.
Yep.
Paul, what do you think?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yeah,
Excellent,
absolutely.
excellent. Good to see you, good to see you. Yeah, you're called. There's not a time limit on this end, but so if you want to go through.
More that shares the 2019?
Sure. We'll go with the citizens. We have citizens, the festival, students, and educators. Yeah. So would you like to just do the citizens, or we'll just go in order, yeah?
Yes, we can do. I'm sorry, Paul, did you want to proceed, or do you want to save it and do another one next time?
Let's just do this first part here, just as a nice conclusion, and go through the citizens, and we'll continue next time. Maybe you'll have some 2021 content by the.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, sounds good. Let's go through.
All right, 2019 citizens delegates. We are outside a temple on this first shot here, and we went to Geibike or Geibi Gorge. Mary, I know you can probably speak about this.
For those here in Hot Springs, Geibi looks a lot like the Buffalo River, these severe bluffs that drop down to the stream. Here there are boats that take you through the gorge, and the boats are pushed by boat drivers who, and actually us kind of push the boat sometimes. And swimming on either side of the boat, usually fish you can feed, or ducks. This day it was raining, so there's a cover over the boat, but usually that cover is not there. And on the way back from, you go down and you get out and you walk around this area, and then on the way back, the boat driver sings an ancient song about the river.
Yeah, exactly. And when it's raining on days like this, they'll also cover the boat, which is nice.
Yeah.
The driver, of course, out there feeling the pain of the rain, though, by himself. Then we went and had some lunch. And there it is. A traditional set.
Some people were not as excited about the whole fish, but it really is very good.
Oh, yeah. And some people, like freak out when they see it because they haven't seen it presented like that before. You're not necessarily expected to like eat the head and stuff. It's just, you're just not used to eating it. So I can see why that happens. But this is learning about shodo, which is calligraphy. And our teacher here teaching shodo is actually a descendant of Miyazawa Kenji. And so she helps our delegates out when we head over there. And this was at Hanamaki Higashi High School.
And that's Lindsay Dilks. She's the Sister City Foundation treasurer.
Yep.
And that was her first trip to Hanamaki.
And hopefully she had a great time. I think she did. She's there.
Very, very involved. And as I said, she's the treasurer of the foundation now. And I have no doubt that she will be going back to Hanamaki.
Yeah, great. We'd love to have her again as well. The kanji she's doing there looks like the one for rice, I think.
Yes.
Which is...
Lindsay grew up in East Arkansas, and rice farm or has family that's in the rice growing industry, which is very important here in Arkansas. So that doesn't surprise me that she would have rice.
And just a bit of trivia. The people in Japanese will say America, but the more like official actual Japanese word for the country is Beikoku, which actually could be translated directly as rice country.
Oh, really?
Why that is, it's an interesting long story that we can talk about another time, but we are the rice country, apparently. So it just doing that one kanji there could also be taken as like the US.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. And the one that he's doing there looks like a smile or laugh. Oh, and here's everybody's presenting their works there. So we have rice, smile / laugh, and then Japan, that's Nihon, and friend on the far right. And since we had a doctor in our midst, Mr. Randy Hill, we had kind of a special delegation with him to a local hospital, a medical facility, and he got to kind of talk with some people in the medical field here in the in Japan, which hopefully was a good experience for him. And here we are just out taking a walk. Sometimes we don't have time to just slow down and enjoy the scenery. So I think this is a nice change of pace for this group. And on our way to lunch, at the restaurant that we take people to have soba, the wheat noodles, sometimes they have an actual shishiodori dancer outside there to welcome visitors, because it's a very popular restaurant, especially for tourists from other places in Japan as well. So it's a good place to take photos with one of them. And you can also see how tall the costume is here as well. And Bill is putting on the bib for wanko soba, the soba that they're about to enjoy here. And I've explained this in a previous one as well, but wanko soba is like an eating competition. They basically give you bowls of soba noodles, and in each bowl is one mouthful only. And basically you eat one mouthful, and the wait staff behind you will immediately refill the bowl with another mouthful. So it's kind of a friendly competition to see who can eat the most bowls of soba before the time is up. And you can see here all the bowls. And
I love the face.
Yeah. And at this restaurant, they also will start it off with taiko drumming at the beginning to start the competition. And then everybody does their best. There she is refilling the bowl. And we took a visit to Doshin Yashiki, which is like a traditional, well, I don't want to say traditional, like a historic samurai residence. So this building has been taken care of and protected since samurai lived in it. And here are some of the people there that take care of the area and look after things. And they knew we were coming, so they set up some tea and snacks and hung out with us. Very nice. And there's Robert at the Doamura, the fairy tale village, in the Bug's Life style room there. And this is kind of, well, they're all glass sculptures on the grounds of the fairy tale village that are lit up at night. And all of them are basically in dedication to Miyazawa Kenji, but they, I don't know if we're still doing it now. I think they've continued it since that first year. It was several years ago when they first did this, and they were only going to do it for 1 year during the summer, but they got such a great reception to it that they continued it pretty much every year since.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, here's it at night. You guys actually in Hot Springs got as a gift one of these crystals.
It is so beautiful. It's in the convention center. It's on the second floor near the grand lobby, in a little alcove where it is protected and safe, but it is prominently displayed in the convention center.
Yeah, this is it's not the one we sent you. There's actually several of them here, but this is the same model of the one we sent to Hot Springs. This is probably the next day. We were at the Otamura no Ie, that community center, trying on yukata, which is like a type of spring/summer kimono. It's a much lighter piece of clothing, and doing dancing. So they're probably practicing the dance for the festival. Because remember, you guys come here in September, which is when we are holding the Hanamaki Festival. And there's the group shot with all the locals who came to hang out. And that's it. So yeah, next time or whenever, we can also look at how the festival went.
Excellent.
So that ought to do it.
Okay. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you so much. It's always so good to see the photos. I've been the director of the Sister City program for 13 years, I think. And so have had the privilege to go to Hanamaki or to visit many times. And each time is different. The delegation that travels is made up of different individuals from Hot Springs, and the experiences are carefully curated year around who the members of the delegation are. And so thank you so much for all of the work that everyone in Hanamaki puts into making sure that every year is special. Every student delegation has a special experience, and almost every year there's something new that I get to experience, whether it's going out on the boat or visiting the shrine. The very first photo from 2019, I had never been to that shrine before, so it's
Yeah,
nice.
I'm very glad to hear it.
Yeah, nice to
all
look back.
our guests from Hot Springs are always awesome representatives of not only Hot Springs, but the U.S. And I'm sure I can say on behalf of Hanamaki and our people here as well, Hot Springs also puts on just as much, if not more, hospitality to our groups when we go over there. So it's definitely a mutual exchange, and everybody always has great stories to tell after they come home on either side. So.
Well, we try. Everyone who's visited Hanamaki knows that it's a very high bar. That Hanamaki does such a wonderful job with hospitality. So we certainly strive to reciprocate. But thank you, and again, thank you, Jesse, for putting the photos together. And just a couple of things that I'll mention since we're wrapping up here. For those who are listening this evening or anytime in the future, April 3rd, we're going to have a celebration of Japanese culture here in Hot Springs with the Arkansas Cherry Blossom Festival. So not everyone can travel to Hanamaki or to Japan, especially now with travel restrictions thanks to COVID. But we can certainly enjoy learning about Japanese culture, and through displays and activities and arts and crafts, and even we hope to have a nice display of Japanese industry located in Arkansas from across the state. So
Nice.
for anyone who would like to be involved in the Sister City program in any way, the email address is hotspringssistercity@yahoo.com, or can reach us on the Facebook page as well, the Hot Springs Sister City program.
Right on.
Thanks so much, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got to have one of those soba noodle competitions at the Cherry Blossom Festival so I can win it.
Great idea.
That would be fantastic. Actually, before I came on board, I think it was probably 2008, 2007 or 2008, a group came from Hanamaki and brought all of the bowls and had a soba competition here in Hot Springs at the junior high, I think.
Maybe it's time for another one then.
It is. I agree. Let's do another one.
All right. Well, thank you both for having a great program as always. And this was a great series throughout the year. And like Mary said at the beginning, you can tune back in and see all of those previous broadcasts. This one, if you tuned in and you're watching live right now, we actually had a little technical difficulty earlier where the broadcast temporarily went down, but the video is fine, so you can go back and watch the beginning and see the photos that you missed once this gets uploaded. And well, we'll continue hopefully this series next year and have some more Sister City content and explore our relationship with Hanamaki, Japan.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you so much.
Absolutely. Have a good
Thanks,
night.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye.